All right, welcome to episode 2 of To The Crib. You got your boy Delix, my man Coach Bishop.
How y'all doing, man? We ready to do this thing.
Yes, sir. So today's episode, we're going to go over the preview of Kansas City versus Detroit tomorrow night, Thursday night football. And then after that, we're going to get into our divisional winners for the year, and then break it down to the Super Bowl predictions. And then we're also going to tackle over-under win-losses from Vegas for each team, basically giving you guys our best bets over or under.
Exactly. We're bringing a lot of information to you, a lot of good, valuable stuff. You guys can take it and do what you want with it. And like I said, we're just going to always just try to give you everything you need right here.
All right, so first thing off, we got Thursday Night Football. Feels good to be back, baby. Let's go.
Man, I can't wait. Tomorrow night, first game. I also have my first game as well. We've taken out Lakeland JV. We're going over to take on Ridge.
Hey.
But yeah, so it's going to be exciting.
Football's back.
Exciting. Football's back.
So Detroit at Kansas City, off the rip. We got the spread. What's the spread going on?
Right now, we got KC's listed at -4.5. It originally opened at -6. So yeah, and then the over-under is listed at 52.5 points.
Okay, so I mean, the reason why the spread has gotten a little closer is because we got some interesting news yesterday. So
yeah, Travis Kelce hyperextended his knee, and right now he's listed as questionable.
Yeah.
So we don't know if he's going to be able to play or not. He doesn't know if he's going to go. I'm sure he wants to play, but this might be a game week 1. KC may tend to lean on the safe side and let him sit out week 1. And we may not see Kelce. So that's starting to dip that spread.
I mean, to me, honestly, they should keep him out because I don't think KC's going to have an issue with Detroit either way. Now, I know Detroit is like the new darling of the NFL. They got their own, they got their kickoff game, this and that and the other. But honestly, in my opinion, I don't see them being that much better than last year. And I really don't think KC's going to have an issue with moving the ball against them. Or, I just think that this dip right here, this 4.5 spread, I feel like you got to take KC now even more.
Right.
I feel like they're giving you a discount with this.
I see where you're coming from, but I also think it's also them wanting you to buy the dip. And I was already favoring Detroit with the +6. I was on it. I still like 4.5 because I feel like, as you're saying, KC's going to be able to move the ball. I agree with you. But I also feel with Chris Jones not being in the game and being out, Detroit's got a two-headed monster there. And I think Detroit's going to move the ball. And I think Detroit scores a lot of points themselves. So I definitely love the over 52.5 here. Mm-hmm. And I'm taking 4.5 points. And I'm taking Detroit.
See, I'm the opposite. I like the cover. I like KC to cover the 4.5. Like I said, I don't think, Kelsey doesn't play defense, so I don't see how that's different. I just think that Mahomes is good enough to spread the ball around, and you reading him to figure it out. McKinnon is going to be a big player. Sky Moore is going to be a big player. Noah Gray's not that bad. They have Noah Gray. They have Blake Bell. They're not going to be bad players. They're going to be good. The Chris Jones thing is much more of an interesting deal than most people would think. That is also going to determine how Detroit does on offense. So I do like Detroit moving the ball, but I don't know. I just see Mahomes figuring it out and covering that spread, winning the game. This is going to play into our record projections later on in the year. Little surprise. He has Detroit doing better than I have Detroit doing. So this is a big. Do you have Detroit winning?
I see an outlook where they could win the game, but I don't have them winning the game. Okay. I think they can cover. I think this is going to be something where KC has to have a drive to win it at the end, and Mahomes is just Mahomes, and he goes down and he does his thing.
Yeah.
34-31 type game. That's why I'm saying I love the over. I think both teams can hit the 30s. So the over is really low, but 4.5 is a lot of points. I see this game being decided by 3 or less, or even 4, where it's like they just need a field goal to tie it up, and they go down and get a touchdown, and they win by 4. And then Detroit's having to go down and get a touchdown to win it, and comes up short because it's Jared Goff, so it's not Mahomes.
It's funny you say 34, 31. I actually have 37 in my head for the Kansas City Chiefs. And if you're leaving them at 31, that right there covers. So it's one of those, it's like a field goal off between us.
Right. Not much points. It's not a big.
But at least the over's hitting, right?
Right. The over is definitely hitting. The over is probably the safe play today.
Okay.
I mean, or for tomorrow night.
Yeah.
So I would take the over. Definitely. Maybe you don't want to touch the 4.5 because it's moving so much.
So, I mean, so if you want to talk, so let's get into the players, right? We talked about, like, we play on Underdog. You can find these over-under pick-ems, player props anywhere, really. Prize Picks, Underdog. We're using the Underdog over-unders on their player props. Some over-unders that stick out on the Detroit side. David Montgomery, 53.5 rushing yards.
I think he's going to eat. I think he crushes it. I think he has at least 60 yards rushing, if not more. I feel like
12 to 15 carries.
12 to 15 carries, averaging 4 to 5 yards a carry. I'm leaning more towards the 5.
No Chris Jones.
No Chris Jones. It's going to be a factor. I think it's definitely going to be a factor, and it goes into the whole thing of me seeing him eat. I think he's going to be able to rip off a few big runs of 10 plus. And like I said, I think he lands somewhere in the 60 to 80 rushing yard range.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm leaning over on his rushing total.
So that being said, Jahmyr Gibbs, do you see him involved as well?
I see Jahmyr Gibbs involved as well, but I'm a little torn because I see they got him at 74.5, which is huge.
Yeah.
I think Montgomery is going to be the lead back this week, but Gibbs is also explosive. They have him at 74.5 total, 39.5 rushing yards, and 31.5 receiving yards, which means he's going to be in the mix more in the passing game. I'm not gonna take any of his over-unders. I'm the one who more likes to take the overs. So if I feel like I don't see it hitting or I think it's close, I tend to just stay away. I look for things that I think are gonna get crushed, and where I feel like they're maybe too low on people.
Yeah, if your numbers are around the same number, just stay away.
Right. Gibbs is high.
I feel like Gibbs can hit the 3.5 receptions though.
Okay, that's a good one. That's a possibility.
They don't really got much going on. They got Amon-Ra, Marvin Jones, really? Josh Reynolds.
Right.
I mean, I think Gibbs is going to be using the passing game, and they've been hyping him up. Oh, they're going to use him in all these different ways.
Right.
So, I mean,
the whole thing about Marvin Jones, back to your question from the last episode, he is the second highest over-under total as a receiver, which is kind of shocking.
That's gross. So, yeah, Detroit, I think KC wins that game. So anybody else stand out to you on the KC side, maybe?
On the KC side, number one, if Kelsey does not play.
Yeah, he's not playing.
Okay, so if we're saying he's not playing.
He's not playing.
We're going to eat on McKinnon.
They're not worried about Detroit without him.
McKinnon receiving over all day, no Kelsey in the lineup. That's something that you just want to play.
25.5 receiving yards.
Crushes it.
No.
Give me a McKinnon touchdown even. Like, those were his two targets towards the red zone last year, was Kelsey and McKinnon. I'm somebody, especially in Lorenzo's league, that I rode McKinnon to a championship. I started playing him before it was popular, when he played in Denver and was ripping off these touchdowns. He had his 2 or 3 touchdowns. I put him in that week and said, let's just ride with it. I think I need to make this move. Put Swift on my bench. I'm telling you, McKinnon is definitely going to get targets.
So if you have him in redraft, you're advising them to to start him. Sorry.
You start him. If you in redrafts, I say you start McKinnon this week if Kelsey's out. He's definitely in play. Put him in your running back spot. Don't put him in the flex spot, because you could always make that adjustment. If you're playing him on Thursday Night Football, that's another thing. Anybody you're playing Thursday Night Football should be in the slot of their position. Don't put him in your flex, because it handcuffs you on Sundays if something happens.
Correct.
If you have like a late kind of with somebody can't play, now you can't move people around. If you're playing somebody, even though you don't think they're your RB1, put them in an RB1 spot. You could always adjust your flex options later.
Good point. So, KC, any receiving options? Who's going to be the one?
Ooh, I like Sky Moore in this one. I don't know if I'm taking any of his overs.
46.5.
Grown.
Yeah.
It's grown.
It's been skyrocketing it up.
Yeah, there's a lot of people there. I'm just really in the receiver room. I just want to kind of give me a week or two to fill them out and see who it is. By week 3, we're going to know who the guy is, right? We're going to know.
They're activating all 7 receivers.
7 receivers active. That's, so, I need to see it before I pick it. That's just how I feel. Now, I trust Mahomes. Mahomes started off with an over 300-yard total, and now he's down to 286 passing yards.
Yeah.
So I like the over 286 and a half. It's something on underdog that I would take and pair up with my picks.
Okay.
So if I was making a pick 3, which is going to pay you 6x on underdog.
Okay.
Now this is me personally. You do what you want with it, but I'm taking Mahomes passing, hitting the over on it. I'm taking Montgomery over on his rushing total. And then I'm also taking Amon-Ra St. Brown because, like you hit on it,
The sun god.
who else is catching passes? And they have him right now listed at 77.5 receiving yards.
Yeah.
So I feel like he's the only guy there.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to get 77.5 receiving yards. So definitely going to take that. That's my pick 3 special. And then that's going to give you times 6. And then if you wanted to get cute and add in a 4th person to give you times 10 odds, I throw in Jerick McKinnon.
Yeah. My pick 3 would be Jerick McKinnon over receiving yards, 25.5. Lock it up. David Montgomery over 53.5 rushing. And then I would take Jahmyr Gibbs over 3.5 catches.
Okay.
That would be my pick 3. So yeah, that's the 6 times your money?
6 times.
Oh, we're making money on Thursday, baby. Let's go.
Yeah. You got a 4th one you want to try to take to the crib with?
Take it to the crib. I haven't.
Or are you just comfortable with your 3?
Maybe Sam Laporta over 3 catches.
Oh, okay.
A little Sam Laporta action.
They didn't put a hook. It's just the 3.
Just the 3.
Oh, wow.
So
Interesting.
yeah, we'll go over.
I mean,
3
somebody else
receptions.
has got to catch some passes other
Correct.
than Amon-Ra.
Yeah.
So he's another good one.
And Marvin Jones is
Okay.
he might play 1 snap and retire.
Okay. He's gonna do Avonte Davis. You
Yeah.
say no? He's
No.
not Avonte Davis.
So in conclusion, though, KC wins and take the over.
I say KC wins,
Take
but they
the
don't
over.
cover, and you take the over.
KC money line and the over.
There you
Lock
go.
it up. All right. So now, next segment, we're gonna go into our division winners.
Yes.
Take AFC, NFC, then get it back down to the Super Bowl. Real quick, start off. What's your AFC?
My AFC, I see the AFC breaking down with the 4 top teams in order. I have Chiefs number 1 seed. I have the Ravens as the number 2 seed. The Titans as the number 3 seed, and I still have Buffalo winning the division. Unfortunately, being a Dolphins fan, but
Okay.
when I put it into my system, that's what it came out with.
Okay. And just talking about your system, what's your process?
So I found a simulator online. It's next.playoffpredictors.com.
Okay.
You can Google search it and it'll pull up, or just try to type it in. It's a really cool system. It starts you off on week 1. You pick it just like it's a player player pool, pick and pull, and you just pick your winners for the week. Change the tab to week 2. Do the same thing for all 18 weeks, and then at the end it'll have the full calculations. You just click over to the graphic, and then it puts them all in the order the way you see it, breaking down. And then it tells you who your playoff seeds. It gives you cool tiebreakers and stuff, so you know if you have two or 3 teams with the same record, who would get in based on the way you broke down the winners. So that's the way I pick my process.
Mm-hmm.
How's your process?
I mean, shit, I'm old school. I write everything down.
Pen and paper?
Pen and paper. So basically what I do first is I get my divisional records.
Okay.
Like, your divisional opponents. What's your record out of the division? Get all those first, and then I go week by week, and I just tally up all the non-divisional games, and I just tally up all the wins and losses. Bum, 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 bum. Come up with my process, what it spits out. Basically, this way is a little different because when I do have ties, I don't know who's winning the tiebreaker. Like, as your system can tell you based off of what you picked, the different tiebreakers, which is cool to see. But you said your AFC. My AFC is still Kansas City is number 1. I have Miami as the number 2 or 3 seed. Basically, they're winning the AFC East.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
I would love it.
Yeah. Fins up, baby. Cincinnati is going to be winning the AFC North, and I got Jacksonville pulling it out in the AFC South.
Okay.
We didn't talk about your wild card team. What you got?
No. So my wild card teams, I see the Pittsburgh Steelers being there. They're still relevant. They're always relevant.
Same.
Miami's still in the playoffs. I don't have them as winning the division, but I do have them getting in on the wild card. And I have the Chargers getting the last seed.
Same.
So with that being said, I have the Bengals falling out actually. But I have them as a 10-win team missing the playoffs.
Right.
In the AFC, if you're not winning 11 games,
Or
you're
your
not
division.
making, or your division, you're not in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Like it's 11 wins to get there. If you're not winning 11, you're not gonna get there.
Yeah, if you're a wild card team in the AFC, you have to be winning 11 games.
Yeah.
That's what it's looking like for me as well.
Mm-hmm.
I have the same kind of thing, but I have I have the Chargers making it in. Miami's already winning division, so they're in. But I have Pittsburgh also making it in, and I have Baltimore making it in. So basically, the differences in ours is I have Jacksonville winning their division, you have Tennessee winning the division,
Right.
and I have Cincinnati winning their division. You have them out.
I have them out as
So-
the 8th seed. They're one spot out.
So my hot take is Buffalo Bills. See you later.
Yeah.
You're 9-8 this year. Not making it in.
Yeah, you're booting Buffalo. I'm booting Cincinnati.
The Jets on the bubble 10-7 with the Browns 10-7.
Woo!
But still, they don't make it.
I have the Browns as the 9th seed. Just throw it out there.
Nice. So we're kind of in line on the AFC. Now the NFC, this is where it gets a little cute.
Yeah, it's very, very close.
All right, I'm gonna go first on the NFC.
Go ahead.
I got Philly winning the NFC East.
Easy.
Lock it up. NFC West, you're gonna have Seattle. I have Seattle. You could have Seattle or San Fran. One of them is gonna win, but I have Seattle winning.
Okay.
Now the NFC North and the NFC South is where it gets a little tricky. I have in the NFC South New Orleans sneaking it out, the only team over 500, and I have NFC North Green Bay sneaking it out.
Wow.
Green Bay Packers, they're the only team over 500 as well in that
Okay.
division.
So that's one of the ways we vary.
Yeah.
So I have the same Eagles win the conference. They're number 1 seed. Like you were saying, Seattle 49ers, but I go with the 49ers. I have the 49ers winning their division.
Yeah.
Same with you on the Saints. I have the Saints. So we see the top of it pretty much working out. It's very similar.
Okay.
But I have the Vikings winning the NFC North. And
okay.
you're going with the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, I have the Packers and Bears at the top.
Yeah. And I have Vikings, Lions in the top 2.
All
So
right.
we have that whole division. We see it.
But
totally
I mean,
differently.
to be fair, my records are all around the same. They're kind of like close to each other, so you know, a little bit here, a little bit there could be different. But and the same with the South. You have anybody in the South, right? You have
Yeah.
a little surprise.
So with my wild card teams, the South, I have the Bucks. I think the Bucks sneak in as a wild card team and challenge the Saints for the division. I said that in the last episode. I
Yeah.
think Baker Mayfield has a chance to bring this team and carry the team,
Yeah.
into the playoffs. And then I also have the Dallas Cowboys making the playoffs and the Detroit Lions
All
in the
right.
playoffs.
So my wild card teams are San Fran from the West. New York Giants, I think, are a playoff team this year.
I have them as 8.
Okay. I have them at 11-6. I have the Dallas Cowboys getting knocked out. And someone's sneaking in. This is the craziest part of mine. The NFC, when have you ever seen a wild card team under 500?
Never.
It's always been a divisional winner.
Divisional winner.
Right.
Sometimes you're thinking like the New Orleans Saints did it at 7-9 back in the day.
I have only 6 teams in the NFC total over 500.
Wow.
And 7 make the playoffs. With that said, I have one of the 8 and 9 teams sneaking in. Right now, I just put Atlanta in there because I don't have my tiebreakers like you. But Tampa Bay's at 8 and 9, and so is Chicago, and so is Dallas. They're all 8 and 9,
Okay.
so they're all right there on the bubble trying to creep in.
Awesome. That's pretty neat. So what about the Super Bowl? How do you see after these teams make the playoffs
Yeah.
and they all challenge and they battle it out?
Right.
What's your prediction?
I mean, we talked about how shitty the NFC is. So Philly is by far the best team.
They just run it.
Just running that shit. AFC is tricky, but doing my calculations, apparently Tua is still healthy.
You still healthy?
He's still healthy. Miami versus Philly, baby. Let's go.
Okay. I like it. I love it. Fins up all the way. Dolphins helmet. We got TD in the house. We got
the
repping
squad.
Miami.
We got the squad.
Season
Let's go.
tickets. Love the Dolphins.
Let's go.
Philly, see you same way. Philly gets
Let's
there.
go.
But I think the Baltimore Ravens are primed and ready to go. They're right back in it. I think the Baltimore Ravens are actually going to get to the Super Bowl this
Okay, I
year.
can see that. I mean,
I think Lamar finally has his weapons. He's got his money.
right.
I think he has a chance to get to the Super Bowl.
Everyone's happy.
Everybody's happy until it comes
Yeah.
because they're going to lose to the Eagles.
Yeah. I have Miami losing to the Eagles.
So I
as
think,
well.
the Eagles win it. I actually have a score. I was like, why not? So I think Eagles win that one like 24-20. I think they both have great defenses. So I think it'd be nobody's getting to the 30s or anything like that. It could even be less than this. But
that score could fly with Miami.
This is a really, really, really early prediction. So,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So,
way too early.
Way too early. Not really though. But
I mean, so boom, that's done. So if we're looking back at our records,
okay.
Let's talk about some of the teams that are going to be in play for that number 1 pick. Obviously, Arizona.
Bottom of the barrel?
Bottom of the barrel. I have Arizona, basically because Arizona is not going to have Kyler. I don't think Kyler comes back. But that said, I think
Arizona is in there.
Tank mode.
I think they're the number 2 worst team and end up with the second pick.
Okay.
I think the Patriots are going to be vying for that number 1 spot as well.
Oh,
so
boy.
I have my bottom 5 teams battling for that number 1 pick.
Wait, I don't want the Patriots to be that bad.
I mean,
I can't have them having Caleb Williams. Let's be real.
I think it is though. I mean, that might happen.
Can they just be like 5th worst?
I mean, but the Patriots don't really pick well, so they might pass on Williams.
They've been sucking lately.
So you got Patriots, Cardinals, Raiders, Panthers, and Falcons. I think are the bottom 5 teams vying for the number 1 spot.
Yeah, I have the Cardinals, Panthers. I have the Rams being bad, Patriots, and Broncos.
They were close for me. After I broke it down, I think they were like the 7th worst team or something. So they're like the Rams are down there too.
All right. So that wraps up our record projections. This is the part of the segment for the degenerates like us.
Huge segue right now. Here we go.
Right back into betting.
Yes.
So we're also trying to give you betting information, betting advice. We do it all. So this part of the segment is going to be talking about the Vegas over/under wins and losses for each team and what we see as good bets, higher or lower. Which ones do we find is the better bets?
This is season-long stuff, so it's going to be take the whole season for this to play out for you. So this is where the degenerate part comes in. You're playing out everything. But this is where having a process where you come up, like he does his pen and paper. I use the predictor where I can have a simulation of it done.
Yeah.
So you just gotta have your own process. You can trust us if you want to, but we tell everybody, people may watch it and be like, I don't agree. Well, put it down yourself. Sit down, do the work, and see what you come up with. I mean, and then let's talk about it. So we're all about feedback.
So with any of our betting advice, there's many lines across all kinds of different sports books. Right now, it's getting smaller and smaller, the amount of sports books actually, but that is on you to figure out, to go shop the lines. There are websites that provide that information where they're able to put out all the lines, all the payout information, everything for each spread, for each total, whatever. So we're not going to get into that. What's the better payout and all that. We're just going to tell you what we think is going to happen. You can bet it if you want based on what the payout is and this and that. But I would suggest you go shop out lines before you place any bets.
Right. We're going to tell it to you based on the lines that we've shopped out and the lines that we found.
Right.
So we'll tell you what the lines we think we're looking at and then give you our opinions. So me personally, I think you feel the same way about the top two. It's an easy setup. Super Bowl teams from last year, Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles, both share the same line, essentially roughly 11.5. So they got to get to 12 wins. 12 wins puts you at 12-5. So in order to not meet that mark, you have to lose six games.
Yeah.
And I don't see either one of these teams ever losing 6 games. So there's, to me, not a lot to talk about. If you're into the betting the over-unders on the odds and you can get 11.5 with those two teams, I think you just take the over.
Yeah.
You don't think
that seems like easy money for sure. A couple of ones that I like, and I think you would agree. Pittsburgh over 8.5. I mean, they've never been less than 500 as a team under Mike Tomlin. Yeah, so I have them at 12 wins this year, which is huge. There's a lot. So that's a 3-game cushion for me. But you have them
at 11 wins. Yeah. I have them over 500 again. They're always going to have a great defense. They have some great weapons. They have a great 2-headed monster. Lock it up. I think 8.5 is an easy way to get to 9. They're not getting less than 9.
And me personally, I like the Giants over 7.5. They have the Giants in the same grouping of Carolina and New England. The Giants are a playoff team this year, in my opinion. Lock it up. They're going to win at least 10 or 11 games. I think 7.5 is way too low over on that.
All right. And then my two personal big favorites are the Tampa Bay Bucks, like I've already said. I see them as a playoff team.
Okay.
And right now what I'm seeing is a 6.5 win total is what they're giving you. So I think it's a very easy, they have a soft division. They get to play the AFC South, which is also soft as well.
Yeah.
So I think it technically is. It's kind of Sherman-like out there. But I feel like there's an easy way that they can get to 7 wins is all you got to get to, and I have them in the playoffs. And another one being the Tennessee Titans, listed at 7.5. I have them winning the division, so I see that they're in the soft division, and I think they're the most dominant of the soft. They are Titans. But yeah, they also get to play the NFC South, which is also not very good as well.
So their line is at 7.5?
Yes.
Ah, man. I don't know. I'm not big on the Tennessee, but I have them winning 8 games.
You're down. You're like so far down on them, and you still have them winning over
8 games.
There you go.
So
that's one I feel like you can take. Those are my top 2.
Yeah.
Other ones. What do you have?
Some unders. Carolina under 7.5. Like they shouldn't be at 7.5.
Easy.
They should be at 6.5 probably. So I just think that's an easy one for me. And then I have obviously Arizona. I think they're in complete tank mode. I think they win 1 game. Honestly, I know that's really low. So let's say they win 2. Let's say they win 3. Let's say they win 4. You're still hitting the bet. Get out of here.
So
easy money.
Like you have them winning 1 game when I did this whole predictor thing.
Yeah.
That's what I came out to for the Patriots.
Well, I have the Patriots under 7.5 also.
Right.
That's a lock for us.
I feel like that's a huge lock. Definitely the Patriots are not winning 8 games. They're not going 8-9 in our division.
Yeah.
That division is way too tough.
The whole conference.
The whole conference is way too tough. And then not only that, they have to play the Chiefs. You got to play the Chargers. Like,
yeah. No, it's not looking good.
Got to play the Eagles. Like,
they got Mac
Jones. Tough schedule. I mean, you got Juju and Devontae Parker. I mean, with Mac Jones.
Yeah.
Lock it up.
Juju's explosive knee.
Nothing explosive on that team but that.
So, real quick, some hot takes on these record projections. My hot take, Buffalo Bills, 9-8. They're out of the playoffs, not making it. Detroit, Minnesota, bottom of the division. Green Bay wins that division. And then also Houston, 8-9. They're going to shock some people. Their line is at 6.5. I won't touch it because it's a little too close for my comfort. But I have them at 8-9.
Yeah,
I think they're gonna shock some people. We play spoiler.
I had them at 6-11, and we both have talked about the Houston Texans. To us, we both I think are agreed that we feel like that's like a sleeper team.
Yeah.
So be careful with the Houston Texans. I would avoid betting against them in the first couple weeks. That might be a little something for a little talk about, like, for Survivor things. I wouldn't just necessarily be picking against the Texans to just automatically be losing, because great team, the team's built great. They brought in DeMarco Ryans as a coach. I see a good outcome for the Texans, and I see them being on the up and up here in the next couple of years.
They're definitely slowly improving. Like the Lions are improving,
right?
But not there yet. Similar to that, yeah. So yeah, any hot takes for you on your record projections? Anything that like stood out? Like, oh wow, this is a little different. The Bengals,
right? And I actually had Jacksonville Jaguars at like 7-10.
Okay.
Which I was shocked when I saw that.
Yeah.
And I had them as the 10th team out.
Yeah.
Like they're the number 10 team in the AFC. So I have the Browns and I also have the Bengals over them. But the AFC is top notch. Like it's the AFC is, you don't want to be in the NFC. I have a Chiefs fan that's one of my best friends talking about Mahomes and saying he's been waiting for the Chiefs to be great, and as soon as the Chiefs are great, the AFC is great. So it's like he's like, man, I just can't have it, So
tell him to stop crying. He'll be all right.
You got Mahomes, man.
Yeah, you got one already. You
got 2.
You stole one last year. Yeah, so that wraps up the record projections, over under wins losses. I hope we gave you guys a lot of information. Next episode we're gonna be tackling basically
getting ready for week 1 come Friday.
Our Sunday primer, basically Sunday Monday primer We're going to talk about the games, get into everything related, try to give you some really, really useful information. Hopefully make you some money and some ways as well.
Get you ready for your Survivor pool if you're in one. We'll rehash what happened Thursday night, talk about it, touch on it real quick. But yeah, mostly come Friday, you're going to be getting an episode getting you ready for week 1 for Sunday, for everything you possibly could need that we would think. So we appreciate y'all for tuning in and following us, and make sure you click that like button and subscribe and be ready, man. We're taking this thing to the crib.
To the crib!